everyone, welcome back to another video. If it's your first time here, my name is Michael Shu, and I just want to say welcome. Since my last video of me teaching all of you guys how I made CFI lesson plans to pass my check ride did really well and got a lot of good feedback, I want to come and make another video and tell you guys the best kept secret tool for making lesson plans during your CFI training. If you guys haven't watched the previous video of me teaching you guys how to make lesson plans, I highly recommend going and checking that video first before watching this video. But before we get started, I'd really appreciate it if you guys go down and smash the subscribe button if you guys aren't subscribed yet, and go ahead and hit the like button. Now that you've done that, let's go ahead and let me tell you about the best kept secret tool during CFI training, alright? No, it's not this, not the PTS. We all know that the PTS, this is not a secret tool, but the best kept secret tool during your CFI training is called Backseat Pilot. This is a document that you can download online. You might have to pay for it, or if you know someone that already has it, they might be able to send it to you. Backseat Pilot is an amazing tool to help you create lesson plans during your CFI training. Before I show you what Backseat Pilot is and how to use it, let me go ahead and tell you what it is and what it isn't, alright? So Backseat Pilot, like I said, is this great tool, and it's a reference. It's a reference and a tool to help you build lesson plans, have a deeper understanding and a knowledge. What it is it basically has all the lesson plans already done according to the PTS. So you can go to the PTS and the table of contents, and everything in the table of contents in the PTS, there's a lesson already made in a Backseat Pilot. So whatever lesson you're planning to make, you can make it yourself first and then use Backseat Pilot as a supplement. So like I said, Backseat Pilot is gonna be a supplement, a tool, a resource, a guide. What Backseat Pilot isn't, this is really important, okay? Because if you guys use Backseat Pilot the wrong way, you guys could fail your check ride. CFI check rides, first of all, a lot of money, very expensive and very time consuming. So I would hate for you guys to use Backseat Pilot the wrong way and fail your CFI check ride. So listen very carefully, everyone. Backseat Pilot is not something for you to copy and paste, okay? A lot of DPs, they all know what Backseat Pilot is, and they can tell when you just copy and paste and don't put any of your own effort in, okay? Backseat Pilot, there's no personality in it. So like I said, you want to use it as a reference, as a guide, as a supplement to what your lesson plans are gonna be like, all right? So like I said, before looking at Backseat Pilot, I would highly recommend going in, making your own lesson plan first according to the PTS. And that's what I talked about in my previous video, how to use your PTS to create a lesson plan, all right? So after you've done that, after you made a lesson plan using the PTS, then you go ahead and go to Backseat Pilot, find the lesson that you want to talk about, and use it as a supplement, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and let me show you how to use Backseat Pilot and how it's organized, all right? So first off, like I said, we always want to reference our PTS. The PTS is gonna be our total guide, all right? Because when we take our CFI check ride, the examiners, the DPEs, are actually going off of this book. They're gonna pick a lesson and they want you to talk about everything, all the bullet points within that lesson. So like I said, first off, always make your lesson plans according to the PTS, because this is what the examiner is gonna be going off of. Let's go to the table of contents and see what the PTS and how it lines up with Backseat Pilot. So if we go under here, area of operations, you can see fundamental of instructing, task A, human behavior, effective communication, the learning process, task C, the teaching process, assessment, critique, instructor responsibility, professionalism. But under that you have the technical subject areas, aerodynamical factors, runway incursion, avoidance. You got task C, D, E, F, and then you've got pre-flight preparation, pre-flight lesson on maneuvers. You got the pre-flight procedures, airport and seaplane base operation, and takeoff, landings, and go around. See, this is the table of contents, right? All that, right? So then you go here to Backseat Pilot. Let me show you guys. Here, table of contents. What's the first thing we talked about earlier? What was it? Was it actually human behavior and effective communication? What a coincidence. Look at that, it lines up so perfectly. Next one is learning process, the teaching process, right? And you can even go down technical subject areas, goes aerodynamical factors, runway incursions, and number 3, pre-flight preparation. So you can start seeing how Backseat Pilot lines up with the PTS, all right? But like I said, always want to use this as your reference and your guide. You don't want to solely go off of Backseat Pilot, because if you do, your instructor, your examiner, everyone's gonna know immediately that you're using Backseat Pilot, and they could fail you for that, all right? But now we know how it's kind of organized. So let's go to a lesson that's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more lengthy. Task D, principles of flight, all right? Principles of flight. So we come here, we go to the table of contents in Backseat Pilot, and we click principles of flight right here. Principles of flight, you click that, and it automatically brings you to the lessons of principles of flight. See how convenient that is? All right, so in the beginning of it, you can see it talks about the objective, very important, goes into detail, everything that you need to teach the student and what they need to understand at the end of the lesson, all right? So PTS in the beginning also has an objective, and under that talks about the different bullet points in what you need to talk about, such as the airfoil design, airplane stability, controllability, turning tendencies, all right? And start, you can see, it also talks about airfoil design, stability, controllability, turning tendencies. And then once you go to the next slide, and then you see how it goes into detail talking about the airfoil design. How it talks about the different designs, such as the planform, the taper, talks about the aspect ratio, talking about sweep rings, and under these bullet points, it goes into even more detail, all right? Next off, it was about the stability and controllability, right? And that also goes into detail. See, talking about the stability, what stability is, the different types of stability, and then talking about controllability. And it even has graphs, see that? So, graphs is really important. I highly recommend putting pictures and graphs because some of your students might not just be readers or audible learners. Some of your students might be visual learners. So it'd be very important to use some of these graphs. Highly recommend it. We can see how each point in the PTS goes into more detail in Backseat Pilot. So like I said, how it could be a supplement and how it could be a guide for these points in the PTS, okay? And that's just a very simple way of me teaching you how to use Backseat Pilot, all right? Just show you a little bit more about, the next one will be turning tendencies, has the 4 different turning tendencies and it has pictures in them. So like I said, this is just a great way to give you ideas. Use this as a tool, use this as a reference, but don't solely rely on Backseat Pilot. Now you can start seeing and understand how Backseat Pilot starts going into detail in the bullet points of the points that you need to talk about in the PTS. And you can see how both of these things are now supplement of each other. Use them both wisely, not solely relying on one or the other, okay? Because I think both of these are very powerful tools and you can use them to your advantage, but don't solely rely on one. And like I said, DPEs, your instructor probably knows about Backseat Pilot and they could definitely tell when you didn't put the work and effort in and you just copied and paste. It'll be really easy when you start explaining and teaching your lesson, you keep on looking and keep on reading what's on your slides instead of explaining. Instead of having that eye contact and explaining to your students, your instructor will definitely know when you haven't prepared a lesson or when you haven't come prepared and when you just copy and paste. I hope this video helped you guys. If you guys liked it, be sure to smash the like. Leave a comment, I really appreciate it. I love reading comments. If you guys have any questions, be sure to leave it down below. If you guys are struggling or want me to make another video about CFI and lesson plans, leave it down below. If you leave one comment below, someone else in CFI might read your comment and be encouraged or might have the same question as you. So I highly recommend leaving comments. Alright, and if you guys haven't checked out my previous video on how to make CFI lesson plans, I highly recommend checking that video out right here, alright? Right here. If you guys enjoyed that video, be sure to leave a comment and leave a like. I hope this helped you. I hope it helped one of you guys. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to watch this video, guys. Bye!